Want me to get out and push? We're live, everybody. That's right.
All we need is music. There we go. I was digging into StreamYard today. This is literally the first song. Yeah, but this is literally the first song that pops up. Rock.
You want me to play the other ones?
No. I think this is a good vibe.
Okay. Good vibes out at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit.
BPPBCS.
That's correct. Andrew Mason, Cecil Lammey, RESPECT. Find out what it means to Bo and what it means to this veterans on this team. It's a topic we're going to start with because clearly Bo Nix has earned the respect of his veteran teammates with this Broncos team. And Mace, we're here to examine why.
It's a good question. Performance matters most. Performance and competency running the offense. You could be as diligent as possible in the meeting rooms, but if you don't go out there on the field, you're not going to earn the respect. But if you don't go out there and do it on the field, I should say, everyone's going on the field. But if you don't have the performance to go with that, it's not going to take you but so far. But when you look at how efficiently Bo Nix has run the offense, efficiently and crisply, and then, as was mentioned today, how he's putting in the work, vets see that, and they know. This isn't – whatever Paxton Lynch was, this is the exact opposite.
Yeah, this is good vibes, good feelings out there, and it's work that translates to the field. Because guys will see the people that study or don't study. But if you don't translate to the field, then guys might be like, okay, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Bo's there right now.
Yeah. It's the marriage of that. And it's the fact that he's getting to that level of competence and confidence on the field in part because of the work that he's putting in. And so that's why when you see a guy like Tim Patrick talk positively about Bo Nix, well, Tim Patrick knows what hard work is, because that's a huge part of why we're talking about him making this team. When he came into camp very much on the bubble, but the work of the last 2 years in rehab off on his own, he took some time to get his mind right after he had the second injury, the Achilles injury, which is why he didn't do the mental reps and learning the offense last year, because he wanted to get his mind settled and basically kind of take time to almost grieve a second year of his career lost. But, they say ball knows ball, hard work knows hard work. But again, if you go out there and work your butt off and you throw 3 interceptions, they'll respect you as a worker, but they won't respect you as a quarterback. Bo Nix, the guys in that locker room, respect as a quarterback.
You mentioned Tim Patrick. The first thing I think of is Timmy's not going to lie. We have I think Pat Surtain's got a little Von Miller syndrome where everybody's great. These guys are all great. He does a little list stuff. Tell us about that cornerback opposite of you. I like them all. Tim Patrick will not, he may not throw a guy under the bus.
Yeah.
But Timmy P, you and I have been around him enough. He's not going to sugarcoat anything.
No, he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to suffer fools.
It's the best way to put it.
Yeah. And I like those traits. The people who are like that are real. Tim Patrick's real. That is one thing. He's real. It's one of the reasons why he's so respected in that organization, not just the locker room, the organization. It's because of the authenticity. It's not, he works hard. He's maximized his skill set as well as anybody I've ever covered. And he's completely authentic. I don't know how many C patches are going to be handed out for team captains. I wouldn't mind seeing Tim Patrick get one of them.
That'd be pretty
It might
cool.
be tough. It might be tough because you've got a limited amount that you can give. Are you giving Bo Nix a captain's patch in his first year? Because he's the quarterback. Personally, I'd be inclined to say, at least for this year, I'd wait to give Bo Nix the patch, and I'd give it to Tim Patrick.
Yes. If it came down to one or the other, I'm choosing Timmy P.
Yeah, Bo will get it in due time. That's fine. But he's the quarterback. He's the guy. He's the signal caller. Yada yada yada. The captaincy and the leadership to go with that. It's not that you can be a leader without the patch, and Tim Patrick has shown that. As I think about it, I think it'd be a nice reward for what Timmy Pats has done to get back, and also just for the presence he's had around the team the last several years. So yeah, if Mace is making the call, it's Tim Patrick and Mike McGlinchey as the captains on the offensive side.
It sounds like a pretty good duo right there. And respect, I think Edward said it in the chat room, like respect to be earned must be given. And not only does Bo Nix have a respect for his teammates, for his coaching staff, but Mace, he respects the hell out of this game. Like it means a lot to him. Behind his family and his faith, football is right there. And so it's almost, I always say glory to the players, glory to the game. It's not about us chuckleheads. It's about those guys in this great game that gives us so much entertainment. And I think Bo Nix has a healthy respect for where he's at and what he does.
You know, it's funny you said like family, faith, and then the game, because Vince Lombardi used to tell his players that there are three things that matter: your family, your religion, and the Green Bay Packers. Another way of saying football.
Yes.
And of course, Bo Nix's offensive coordinator is Joe Lombardi, the grandson of Vince Lombardi. And I think Bo kind of has that same mentality. The three things that matter are his family, his religion, and the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a very focused mindset, but it's one that probably puts him in the position to have the best chance of success. Keeps it simple. There's not, for better or for worse, there's not a lot of extraneous fluff. Now, you can, outside stuff is great. I mean, I think it's good to kind of have a real multidimensional personality for some people, but for some, it's better to kind of have that focus. And I think Bo Nix has kind of got the focus on those three things first in his life at this point.
Yeah, and I would generally agree with you, Mace. I would say just be authentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I like guys with personality. I like the Clinton Portises. I like the Arian Fosters. But if you're a guy that's just like, you're all ball all the time, give it up to the GOD, give it up to your family. Like, that's who he is. And and I like what he said about John Elway too. It wasn't very much, but he's the first rookie to start the season opener for the Broncos since John Elway.
And that's something, huh? I'd have to go back. It would be interesting to go back and look and see how many teams have had a longer gap between rookie quarterbacks starting the first game of the season.
And who had the shortest gap? That would be interesting as well. There's another article for you, Mace. We always give you so much more work when we do these things.
Well, Josh Rosen didn't start week 1 in 2018 for the Cardinals, right? Weren't they? They were still trying to wring something out of Sam Bradford at that point?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Okay, so wouldn't be them. New York Jets, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
2018 Sam Darnold, 2021 Zach Wilson. Both names that we've discussed quite a bit on this show over the last several months. Darnold early in the year, Zach Wilson more over the last few months.
Right. No,
that's
like
interesting.
It is.
Yeah, because Paxton Lynch, his first start was, I believe, week 5.
5.
Atlanta, week 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, that's interesting. Rookie quarterback starting week 1.
And who has the longest streak? Because 83 to now's, don't make me do math, a long time.
41 years, Cecil.
Older than most of our audience.
Isn't that scary? And
Yeah.
yet I can remember as a 7-year-old football games that I watched in 1983. One of them is the Broncos losing the wild card game on Christmas Eve in Seattle. I remember watching that game with the Christmas lights twinkling in the corner. Maybe during the commercial break, I put on the Muppets Christmas album with John Denver.
Right. There you go.
5 gold rings. Boom, boom, boom. If you know, you know.
Yes, that's right. So it's been a minute. Bo Nix is here. He's earned that respect. Let's hear from Joe Lombardi. Which Lombardi clip do you want first? Because we have veterans respect him, Nick's learning quickly, and Nick's presence.
Let's start with the veterans respect him. We've touched on that a bit, but I want to hear more of what Joe Lombardi had to say.
I think it's impressive. They're, it's a hard transition. There's a lot to learn offensively, learning about the defense you're facing, and he's done a really good job. And I think the veterans respect when they see that someone's putting in the work, and you can definitely tell that with Bo.
I like that answer, Mace, because it's hard. Like, football is hard. Some people are just naturally talented, but it is hard. And I will say, for our industry, part of the reason why you and I get along is because we'll both grind.
Yeah.
Like, and when we see each other grind, it just makes me want to grind more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you get in football. If Bo Nix was lazy or not putting the work, those guys would know it and they wouldn't like it.
Yeah. He'd lose their respect.
Yep.
Let's face it. Isn't that how Paxton Lynch lost some respect in the building?
One of the ways. I won't say the other way, but yes, one of the ways.
Yes. So that's a thing. And guys know that here's the thing. They'll understand if you're putting in the work, because if not, you're going to be exposed on something as simple as when you're trying to relay the play call in the huddle. You can't do that. You didn't study. You can't fake that.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely cannot fake it. There's so much, and a quarterback in particular has to learn that there is no shortcut to getting it down pat. So you gotta put in the hours, countless hours. And for Bo Nix specifically, it's putting in those hours and playing catch up, because aside from the one day that he spent ingesting as much as he could of what Sean Payton sent him at 5 p.m. the day before he worked out in Eugene, he didn't have that exposure until he got down to rookie minicamp. Whereas, someone like Jarrett Stidham was in the offense for a year. And, why did Jarrett Stidham look like he was the better quarterback the first few days of camp? It's because he had the base of knowledge and the ability to run the offense on that foundation of knowledge that came with being around for a year. What we saw from Bo Nix, and I think what we've also seen from Zach Wilson, is those guys, as they learned it, they caught up. And then they simply have more skills. And again, you can dive in and learn it as well as you can, but if you don't go out there and produce, they'll respect you as a worker, but they're not going to respect you as a leader, as a guy who can elevate this team and guide it where you're hoping to go. That respect is starting to happen within that locker room for Bo Nix. It's happening from guys who are, again, they're these 6-7 year veterans. They've been around the block a time or two. They know what hard work looks like. They know what success looks like, or for the Broncos, what it's supposed to look like, even though it hasn't happened yet. But guys talk around the league. They know what it takes to win. And frankly, the guys on the Broncos locker room, they know they haven't had all that they need to win. Whether it's a coaching scheme, quarterback, some of the above, all of the above, depends on the year, depends on which losing season you're talking about, what you're missing.
Yes.
Well, now you feel like you've got the scheme, you feel like you've got the coaching, and while there are going to be bumps, I think more and more guys are feeling like they got the quarterback.
I think, not to sound like Dave Chappelle imitating Rick James, but you need unity. And it's unity and effort. It's everyone coming together for the same reason and fighting. This game takes a lot from you. it can take your career from you. Eventually, it can take your life from you. I don't want to get too heavy, but like for this game, you can't half-ass it. You're naturally talented. Great. You're in a league that everybody's naturally talented.
Everyone's naturally talented. Everyone's been among the very best at what they do their entire football lives. And then you get here, if you don't go that extra mile, you're going to be ordinary in the league. Now, just by being in the NFL, you've done something extraordinary. Let me make that clear. Every one of those guys that you saw out there at training camp or seeing a preseason game, all 90 of them accomplished something by getting on that field and getting a helmet on. But then, it's a reminder that you can't half-ass it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the commitment to the job when you're on the clock, it's got to be total. Probably the only ones who don't have to ingest an awful lot mentally are the specialists, right? Kickers and punters. There's a reason why kickers and punters and long snappers kind of go their own way for most of practice.
Right.
They're on a different schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And not to denigrate what they do, but but then again, the flip side of that is they have jobs where you have to be basically perfect. Okay. If you're, the holder, you don't think about it unless he screws up. The long snapper, you don't think about it unless he's sailing one over the head of the punter. Right. And the kicker at this point is, expected to be pretty metronomic.
Mm-hmm.
So their challenge is different. They probably deal with more. They may deal with more consequential pressure than a lot of guys on the roster.
Right.
Maybe they don't have to learn an entire playbook, but they've got to have they've got to work on the mental side to where, because they're in a line of work where perfection is basically expected.
No one else is going to cover for you.
Yes. No one's, and you're on an island. And oh, by the way, because you're kind of, off to the side, you might come back to a sideline that isn't as forgiving as it might be for other players.
Right.
It's another thing. It's funny, speaking of like not forgiving and putting in the work, but also like having to earn it. The Broncos very clearly made Bo Nix earn this job. Started off by splitting the first team reps 3 ways, then 2 ways, but they forced him to take the job, and he did. Compared to, for example, Isaiah McKenzie 7 years ago at punt returner, who was handed the job. If you have to earn it when things go badly, you're going to have more equity built in for guys to have your back and respect you and pick you up. In 2017, when Isaiah McKenzie was muffing punts and putting the ball on the ground, because he had been handed the job like that, unfortunately, there wasn't that reservoir of respect from a lot of quarters of the locker room, especially because you still had a lot of veterans who knew what it was like to win a Super Bowl. And it was, the frustration on the sideline when he put the ball on the ground, man, guys were angry.
Mm-hmm.
And not that they meant to make it personal, but they were angry at Isaiah McKenzie. And they weren't just angry about that. They were angry that he got handed the job. And for example, Garett Bolles didn't, I think it took him 2 weeks in a training camp before he was on the first team at left tackle. He didn't start off then, but Isaiah McKenzie got basically, okay, here's the job. Montreal Washington 2 years ago. Here's the job.
How'd that work out?
Yeah. And
I think I can say his name again. I was asked not to say his name at one point.
Bo Nix earned it. We're seeing Luther Ellis earn it. There was something
Jonah
really
Ellis.
Interesting. I thought that Luther, damn it. I made the mistake again.
It's gonna happen. We're old heads, man.
Jonah.
We covered Luther.
There you go. I'm old because I covered Luther Ellis.
Yeah.
Jonah Ellis is earning the respect. Baron Browning said, talked about Jonah Ellis today.
Yep. We talked to him after practice.
And what I liked about what Baron said is that Jonah's meeting the standard of the room.
That's cool.
The way he talked about it, it was clear that Jonah had worked his way over the last few months into a position of respect from the veterans. Respect from Baron Browning. And since, Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper, sometimes they're two sides of the same coin, I think that you could get the same type of answer from Jonathan Cooper as well. Mm-hmm. Respect from the elders in the room. And it's earned. And you got to earn it. But then once you earn it, you're in. You're in you pass the test.
Now let's go, right?
One of the things I think about in that regard is I covered the Panthers for a couple of years, and Ryan Cleel, their center, used to walk around the locker room sometimes wearing a T-shirt that said, "I draw my strength from the person next to me. Can I count on you?"
I need that T-shirt.
That's good.
It's really good.
That's a heck. I love that.
Mm-hmm. That's what football is about.
Yeah.
Got to make it happen.
Not just football. It's any environment where teamwork is involved.
Hell, life.
Yeah. Life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't, we think we can do it alone, but we can't.
You always need some help. Yeah. I can get crunchy on you in a minute, Mace. Let's talk about what Mike asked here, because he says Payton's plan worked. I would say this. Sean Payton was asked, I believe it was yesterday, that, hey, is Bo Nix kind of exceeding your expectations? He said no. Payton's plan worked. Did Sean Payton envision this? I think he did.
He envisioned it where Bo Nix had those moments where everyone realized, okay, he's the guy. Sean had his moment of clarity in Eugene, Oregon, watching him work out and meeting with him. The moment where, I think he said it was after 16 throws, this is the guy. But how do you get everyone else to have that moment where it all settles in? You realize, okay, yeah, this is our guy. We can do some things with him. And it's going to come differently for every other guy, but sometimes it's going to be like one moment. Sometimes it's going to be an accumulation of things. I would say for, Courtland Sutton, it might have come on that first completion in Indianapolis when Nix gets flushed and he rolls to his left and he locates Sutton near the sideline and throws a, off-platform rope. Boom. Move the 22 yards. He moved the chains.
Yep.
Or maybe it came with those back-to-back plays out of 1st and 20 on Sunday night. First where Nix quickly identifies the coverage, steps up, scrambles, knows he can get a quick 10 yards. Court reads that perfectly, blocks, make sure Bo has a clear path to the sideline. So you're playing the self-preservation game and you got a productive play. And then the next play, you're hitting Court for 23 down the right flank. I think probably for every player, the moment of clarity that it all came together was something different. But now I think they can all they all know. Like they've all had it, they've all seen it, they've all glimpsed it. One thing that I did kind of watch when I was watching Bo Nix today, kind of guide the offense, knowing he's the first teamer. I feel like we're sitting now, like he's getting comfortable in a good way. Like, all right, it's my huddle.
Did you see him like happily jogging to the huddle? And that's why I asked Joe Lombardi what I did about like, is he a little different? I know it's only been 2 days, but Mace, to me as an outside observer who's there every day, he does look a little tiny bit different.
Yeah.
It's mine. My team.
It's mine.
My huddle.
My team. Yeah.
It's my quarterback.
And he doesn't have to say it. It's just a demeanor thing. It's like just
yes.
He's growing up fast. This makes, no matter what comes of the future, this training camp, this off season has been fun because it's been about seeing the bit by bit progression of Bo Nix. And like you and I said, it wasn't necessarily one moment. And I think Sean Payton said it yesterday. It was an accumulation of them. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is a metaphor for how Bo Nix is going to find success. I don't think we're going to be looking at just oh my God, did he make that throw that goes viral on TikTok? The kind of thing that Patrick Mahomes does. The kind of thing that Josh Allen can do. I think it's going to be the accumulation of everything. And then you look at the end of the day and like, oh, wow, he was 27 of 34 for 305 and 2 touchdowns. The offense moved the ball efficiently. We put 28, 30 points up on the board. That's success right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the formula for success.
So Victory Lab says Bo plus efficient is success. You put that up there, and I go kind of into math nerd because instead of coefficient, it's Bo efficient.
That is math nerd. You got the Bo efficient. Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's just the kind of bonus that we give you here on Orange and Blue today, or should it be Orange and Blue Bo Day?
There's another Bo word I want to use, but I will refrain.
Not Bo ring.
Oh, this Bo word is not boring. Anyway, Bo Nix is the guy. He's the guy, and he's earned the respect. Joe Lombardi today said something as we kind of tie up things that we have been saying on the show about Nix and the way he doesn't do this one thing. And here's what Coach had to say.
Yeah, he learns very quickly. You know, when he doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. When he sees something, it's something new, and he makes a mistake based on it. He gets it, and the next time he sees it, he understands what happened the first time, and he corrects. So he's a really quick learner. You know, I think the coach's kid thing gets overplayed sometimes, but I mean, he's kind of the epitome of that. He loves football, and you know, he studies it and learns from every rep he gets.
Doesn't make the same mistake twice.
It's not the first time that's been said about Bo Nix the last few weeks.
Not at all.
He doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Right. That's good. Let him learn. Let the kid learn, man. Mm-hmm.
You know, and when there is a mistake like yesterday, take a drill and spend time working on it.
And he'll certainly remember it. He said it.
Yes.
I will not forget the play that I messed up. Yeah, we know, Bo. We know.
Yeah. It's exciting. I think we're all getting on the Bo train, aren't we?
I think the bandwagon's getting pretty full. But hey, let's just watch, and let's watch the ups and downs of Bo. And as far as Sunday and the Cardinals game, people asking, is Bo going to play? I just say this. Let the boy watch. Just the sidelines.
Yeah.
Just the sidelines.
Every indication, we haven't gotten confirmation, obviously, but when you talk about Sean Payton noting that maybe Zach Wilson gets one of the snaps with the unit working with Jarrett Stidham. I mean, I think it's pretty clear we will probably not see Bo Nix on Sunday. And that's fine. At this point, I've seen enough to where I say, okay, it's not worth the risk of injury in that preseason finale.
Right.
And this is a national television game too. I wonder if the NFL is going to start rethinking having most of the nationally televised preseason games in week 3, because in the 4-game preseason, yeah, this is where you were most likely to see the starters. In the 3-game preseason, this is like that last weekend around Labor Day used to be, where you're just trying to get through it on a Thursday night. I mean, I think there was one preseason, like you move the game around for the things. I think there was one preseason game down in Arizona where literally they started it late because they wanted to wait until after one of the political conventions had gotten done. They're like, okay, well, let's see. Are they not going to be off the stage until 8:30 Pacific time? Fine, we're going to start this thing late. Yeah, that was fun. Starting a preseason game after 8:00, which was after 9:00 Denver time. Yeah, we were all very spry the next morning, weren't we?
Mm-hmm. That's right. It feels good. Genuine optimism feels good. And we're going to ride the ups and downs. Okay. Nobody's saying it's going to be perfect or it's Super Bowl time, but it's like we're going to see the birth of a potentially great NFL, nay, great Denver Broncos quarterback.
Ooh.
I can't wait.
So you're saying that the QB carousel era, that's what I'm calling it. For a while, I was calling it the world of suck era. I think the way to define the last 8 years of Broncos football is just to call it the QB carousel era.
Okay.
Because that's really what defined it. The QB carousel era, trying everything but a high first round pick that you drafted until now. And here we are. QB 6, but number 12 on the board. Number 10 in the scorecard. Number 1 in your heart. Bo Nix.
I like it. I like it. 77 likes that we stick to football and not a bunch of unrelated BS. That's for the end of the show.
I mean,
we may go into Muppets on Broadway at any point.
No, they weren't on Broadway then. They were performing John Denver. So they were like up at the mountains. They were basically here.
I wonder if John Denver smoked weed.
Can we get into that?
I don't know if our company would like that very much, but like Rocky Mountain High.
Oh, it was not about weed, okay? It was about like, sitting around the campfire, enjoying being up in the mountains, high altitudes, high elevations, high spirits. See, if one of the official songs of Colorado,
That is.
Yeah.
There you go. Country roads take me home.
That's an official state song of West Virginia. How many? By the way, how many singers have 2 official state songs or songwriters have 2 official state songs?
Probably not many.
That alone, that alone puts John Denver in a pretty elite tier, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
John Denver, elite. Joe Flacco, not elite.
Bo Nix, elite.
Could be.
We're fixing to find out, but I don't think we're going to find out this year. That's something that's going to take some time. There are questions about Bo Nix that will not be answered this year, and unless he completely bombs, in which case the answer would be no. One of those questions will be, is Bo Nix elite? That's a check with me in 3 or 4 years question.
Yep. And we shall see. I actually got footage of you, Mace. I recorded you without your knowledge when you were doing the Bo efficient on the sidelines. What it looked like. Running the numbers.
Well, maybe it's just like we say Bo efficient. He's a
Bo efficient. I like it.
He's a boa constrictor. He's ready to strike.
Nixon to find out.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Well done.
Northcutt Productions. A mile high salute to you as well. Let's tie a bow on this thing, but before we're out of here. They never stop. They never stop. Before we're out of here, we need your help on YouTube. We're right there with you, Broncos country. How about your boys on YouTube? Mace, how do they do that?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you
never miss a vid.
That's right. I think I hurt my finger. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thanks. Stay tuned. Stay frosty.